scars remind me to appreciate the days I don't have to.
Black can be pretty indistinguishable.
Yeah, unless I shaved or not shaved.
Yeah.
I wanted to, we had on Adam Wingard. And again, I would say to people that are listening to the show and that like movies that I was just so fascinated with Adam and his work ethic and the way that he worked and the way that he set up stuff. And we've gotten to be pals. I went out to lunch with him about a month ago, and I saw Stephen Lang. And Stephen Lang and I were like, "Hey, how you doing?" And Stephen Lang's like, "We got to get together and talk a little, get Kurt, talk about Tombstone." I'm like, yeah, we do. I said, yeah, I got a podcast. Can you see if you can talk Kurt into it? Because, like I said, I put my feelers out there to ask Kurt to see if he could do it. But at the same time, too, we all live lives none of us have, and none of us have any time.
Yeah.
Especially Kurt.
Yeah. And and I, it's kind of crazy that I've gotten to be my age, and I just still seem like I'm busy all the time. And I thought that I wouldn't be, but
well, that's true when it comes to scheduling guests. Well, Michael is out of town that weekend and the weekend after, and then it's hard to get schedules to coincide.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through that with Ron right now. So,
well, I would love to get Ron Shelton on here, and please tell him that I would love to talk to him when he has the time, and I know that you're kind of working on that.
Well, he's been out of town. He's back this week, so I will be communicating with him again to
tell the audience some of the things that he directed.
Well, probably best known for Bull Durham.
Bull Durham,
which more or less launched Kevin Costner's career.
Yeah.
And he followed that with a couple of small movies
Can't
I really like. Blaze, a movie called Blaze.
Yeah. Was that Paul Newman?
That's Paul Newman.
Yeah.
And that's a movie where Ron met his wife, Lolita Davidovich.
Oh, God, she was
true story about Paul Newman plays a Southern politician. It's a true story. And it's quite fun, set in the early 60s. And it's a terrific Paul Newman performance. It was
as usual, yeah.
And then he followed that with Cobb, with Tommy Lee Jones playing Ty Cobb. Old days.
I did watch Cobb. Tommy Lee Jones must have had a lot of fun playing that. I'll just go to work and be an asshole today. I'll just be a motherfucking racist motherfucking
he got
asshole.
To be a racist mother, absolutely.
And just walk onto the set. Fuck yourself. He's in character. Just let him,
let him go.
You call this lunch? You all go fuck yourself. He's in character. He's playing Cobb.
He's playing a racist Southerner. He really
Ty
is.
Cobb? Is it Ty Cobb?
Ty Cobb, Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb.
And then he followed that. I met Ron around the time that Cobb was released, and he was working with John Norville, whom I know you know.
Yeah.
And John and Ron had become friends and had worked together on a screenplay that never got produced called Capone in Laredo.
Wow.
And out of that friendship, they did that for Mike Metaboy at Orion, and out of that friendship, Metaboy said to them, they were working on this screenplay for Capone in Laredo. It's the young Capone goes down to Laredo to secure a line of liquor from Mexico, and he runs into Frank Hamer, the last legendary Texas Ranger, the guy who brought down Bonnie and Clyde. And it's about the first gang. Ron called it the first gangster meets the last cowboy, and that was their premise. So they're working on this script, and it was a pretty good script. They're working on it for Metaboy, and Metaboy says, "Hey, why don't you guys like go off for a couple of weeks. We'll pay for you to go to some resort and work on this screenplay. So they headed off to some golf resort for a couple of weeks and played a lot of golf and finished off the screenplay. And they said, this was kind of fun having a studio pay for us to go play golf. Let's come up with an idea for a movie where we get that again, where a studio will pay us to go, go to a golf course and hang out at a resort and play some golf and come up with a movie. So they put together the idea for Tin Cup, and they went and pitched it to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers said, "Yeah, we'll take it." And they, offered them a certain amount of money, and they said, "That's not really enough money. We'll go write it on spec and come back to you," because they had a pretty good idea Kevin Costner was going to be in this. So they went off and wrote that script on spec.
Wow.
And went back to Warner Brothers, and Kevin agreed to it, and Warner Brothers said, "Okay, we'll pay you a bigger amount now," because they knew they had a movie. When they enter into a development deal, they don't know how that script's going to turn out. But here they had a script that was pretty good. They had a star who was willing to do it. They had a director who was willing to do it. So they're willing to pay, big money because the movie is there. So I remember the Ron had gone to breakfast with Kevin. He said he would do it. Warner Brothers said, "Okay, we'll make the deal." And when I saw Ron the next time, he said, "We're on the cards now, Jimmy," meaning that a lot of what we do could be expensed. We're on the credit cards now because we have a movie in production. So that's when I first met Ron, and he followed that with I think he followed that with Dark
White Men
Blue.
Can't Jump or Dark
With
Blue.
well, White Men Can't Jump he had made before.
Okay,
He
yeah.
was working on White Men Can't Jump in around 89 or 90.
Yeah, I told you I went up. I told you I went up for that, right?
No.
Yeah. I went up and I went to. I never met Ron, but they were having like basketball tryouts type of thing. So they had a bunch of actors that were running around. And I, for whatever reason, and this is very, very unlike me, probably got lost. That knowing me, I got lost and I couldn't figure out where to go, and ended up getting there a little bit late. And I went in there and shot a few air balls. This is the last I heard of
Where'd you go to like the YMCA in Hollywood or something?
Yeah. It must be. Speaking of that,
I was going to say, speaking of Wesley Snipes, you've never really talked about The Art of War. I feel like,
The Art of War.
What happened with that movie?
First of all, The Art of War was, it had a good cast. Don Sutherland. What am I thinking here? Sutherland, the older
Donald
one.
Sutherland.
Wait, what?
Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland. Sutherland was in it. Wesley Snipes. Had a good cast. I got offered it. I went back east someplace to shoot it, and I don't really have that many memories about it. I didn't have that much to do in the movie, and I remember that it was maybe Chicago. It was cold. It was really, really cold. And I had my hair cut real short. And I went to shoot, and I remembered one of the things that I remembered about that that film, and is I played a bad guy. I'm not sure if I was the bad guy or not, but I played a bad guy. And so I obviously get into a fight with Wesley Snipes. And, I was not quite aware at how proficient Wesley Snipes was when it came to fighting for movies. And, Wesley Snipes had a stunt team of 2 or 3 people around for our fight sequence in that movie. I think for some reason, we start back to back. We start back to back, and then, I don't know, this fight breaks out. And I can remember just being blown away at how quickly they shot that. and how dialed in the stunt guys were with the camera department, and it was a pretty big fight sequence. And usually in those sequences, I would, people ask me if I do stunts, and I'm like, well, I do all those like fight sequences. I do all that fighting. I roll around, I jump, I run, but when it comes to like a real stunt, which I think I've mentioned before, talking about different movies that I've done, when it comes to a real stunt, like when Kyle Reese drops out of the sky naked, lands on the cement. That one's not for me. The other one I think about the stunt. It's a stunt that I didn't do in Terminator. And I think that when I spoke about the Terminator, I spoke about these 3 stunts that I did. They were stunts. One is I'm running along and a car kind of hits me and I jump and like kind of roll over the car. So that was shot. Oh, yeah. That was shot with a stunt guy and then me kind of rolling off the car. And then there's a great shot of me leaving the department store after I pick up the Nikes and the clothes, and I'm hanging off the fire escape. And I'm about 10 feet high, and I jump. Maybe 8 feet high, but it was high. Not something that is a stunt guy, right? So the camera is like at the front of a police car, and so the stunt guy jumps, and it's him, and he runs towards the police car, the back of the police car, and I guess sort of with his head down, and I'm already behind the police car. So as soon as he gets to me, then I kind of whip off to the right, up the side. So it's all one shot, but it's him coming down, getting behind the car, and then me coming out the side, grabbing the shotgun.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm gone.
yeah.
And it's kind of a cool, like, that's when you see, somebody like...
It does look almost like a continuous
exactly.
shot.
So it's one shot.
Yeah,
and I since that time, I have seen that stunt done before. And so, but, that was one of those things that Jim Cameron did that I was just like, wow, that was cool, because, I would think about Jim was that it's always, and I'm not sure if he's the same way now, but Jim was always wanted to show me his stuff, the dailies. And I think he probably did it. I think a lot of directors will do things where they'll cut some stuff together just so you get excited. And the more excited you get, the harder you work. And I got to see it got to a point where with Jim is like you put in you have to get downtown, then put in a 12-hour day, and then drive home, and then at the end of the 12-hour day, Jim would be like, "Let's go watch dailies." And I'm like, "All right." So then we go watch dailies, and like about halfway through the movie, it's like, I can drive there, 12-hour. There were always nights too, 12-hour nights. Yeah. All right, Michael, let's go watch dailies. I don't know, Jim. I'm starting to I feel a little tired tonight. Maybe I'll just, So, Jim kind of had to coax me into, I always tell
attending dailies.
Attending dailies. And there was a thing back in those days, and it was pretty solid across the board. I guess unless you were a movie star, where. Up until really that time that I worked with Jim, and I'd done The Fan, for instance, and I'd worked on big productions and a lot of television stuff before, but there was kind of this rule, and the rule was no actors can watch dailies. That was the rule. Actors weren't allowed, like the rest of the crew, the makeup people, the hair people, the camera department, the
The suits.
Teamsters, anybody in a suit, anybody could be in there, but the actors. And the reason that was always given to me was the reason why you can't go to dailies is because as an actor, you would see yourself and then somehow be upset and then change your performance. And it was just like complete bullshit. Like, it was just like
treating actors like kids. Huh?
Well, like too emotional, to be able to see ourselves like the next day. And, but with Jim, I was always able to see dailies. And the thing that I realized and this is kind of why I maybe stopped a little bit with Jim too, was that like I'd go into dailies and be like, okay, all right, here it is. Oh, there's the shot. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, okay. Oh, second take. Yeah, I remember that one. And the third take, yeah, that's what I did. And it was always just kind of like, oh yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened yesterday. Yeah, that happened yesterday too. There was never like, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh my God. There were never any surprises in dailies except for.
Did it affect your performance at all? Did you sing the dailies?
Why would it, you're being facetious, right, Jim? Correct?
I missed what you said.
Oh, you're being facetious.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, of course. Anyway.
So there was one time?
What?
You were about to say there was one time.
Yeah, there was one time, but I don't I don't know what time that was. There was one time. There's always one time, but I started out the podcast a little bit talking about Adam and how much I respected him and how much I liked him and how much I liked working on this movie Onslaught and how, I really. It's got this great cast, and I'm working with this guy named Dan Stevens. All my stuff's with him. He's a great actor, really, really wonderful guy, and I had such a great experience on it. And I got this text from my manager yesterday, which is it's not when it's coming out, but it says, "Hi, Michael. We reached out to Aaron Ryder. Aaron Ryder, if you look up Aaron Ryder, this guy has got like 80 credits, starting with Donnie Darko. I mean, he's got like
Producer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's produced some great stuff.
I mean, just going through his producer, just going through his IMDb, The Prestige, Arrival, The Founder, Dumb Money, which is recent, but that's great. Yeah, the Donnie Darko.
Yeah. So anyway,
Memento.
Yeah. He's a wonderful, and he was a nice guy too. I think I've told the story before about me.
Yeah, you have. I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. And what do you do anyway?
Yeah, who are you? Well, he was very solicitous to you during the fires.
Not solicitous. He was very kind.
Yeah.
He was very kind.
Very kind and
I thought
compassionate.
I thought he was
that's
background.
Nice. Who are you?
I thought, yeah.
We got your back, Mike. Okay, but who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I'm the producer.
Yeah. We're on a set in
Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah. And the fire is a mile away from my house in L.A., and you're here on the set in Albuquerque, and you're putting your arm around me and you're telling me everything's going to be okay. I appreciate the thought. I really, and that's what I said to him, when I finally did address him and say thank you very much. And by the way, what do you do? And he said, I'm the producer of the movie. I'm like, oh, you're the producer. What happens is that when you have a director who's so in charge, it's that way with Jim also.
Yeah.
And with Robert Rodriguez, is that like they don't, they don't need somebody else around telling them, they might sidle up every once in a while, but he just Aaron was just not around that much because Adam was just so good at he would do one shot.
Adam had kind of his own crew at that point, didn't he? His own kind of coterie of
well, you know what? But Adam didn't work with. We're talking about Onslaught again. But Adam did it. The DP he worked with was the first time he had worked with that DP.
Okay.
And I think Aaron is the first time that he'd worked with Aaron. I know I believe it's the first movie he did for A24, and there was another pretty important
he had worked with Dan before, right?
The good thing about him is that he works with the same actors over and over again. So I'm around, Adam. If you
What's next, Adam?
you need to play somebody's grandfather or great grandfather,
next movie lined up yet? Yeah.
No, I had lunch with him. I would, people always ask me, how come you weren't in the Avatar movies? I'm like, fuck, I did 3 movies with Jim. I'm like, I can't be in every single movie that he does. They should put you in Avatar. They should put you in Avatar. I'm like, hey, go tell Jim Cameron. There's another thing about people are always asking me about, like, not so much lately, but used to, like in the Terminator. So if you came from the future, but the future had, and you're in the past, how could the future in the past and be like, I'd be like, I don't fucking have any idea, man.
That's Jim.
Go ask Jim Cameron. Jim Cameron is the guy that he will explain that to you. Yes. He'll explain that to you.
He's got it figured out. Yeah.
So anyway, I guess my manager checked in with
Aaron.
With Aaron, and okay, now I got to find it again. Me and my phone. You
had that phone in your hand for the past 15 minutes talking about something else.
Yeah.
And then you put it down, and then...
Yeah, now it's gone. Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, I guess my manager reached out. We reached out to Aaron Ryder earlier this week to get an update on Onslaught. He came back to us just now, which was on Friday, with the following. Hey, Laura, sorry for the delay here. Should have some updates in the next few weeks. Michael is awesome in the movie. So glad to hear that he enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed having him. So I thought that was kind of nice. Yeah. He could have just said, yeah, Michael's good. Yeah, Michael did a good job.
Michael's great. Yeah, Michael's great. He's good. Yeah.
What word was that? Awesome? Is that what he said? What was it? What
awesome.
Was it?
You said awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't have to say awesome. So anyway, I've talked about this before. I talked with him about the fact that, like, I remember shooting it and him saying, like, yeah, I want it out on Halloween. And then me having a discussion with him and Aaron telling me, well, that guy's good at making movies. A24 is, good at deciding when they come out,
distributing them, figuring out
what they're up against and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I think that Adam was really hoping for something about now later on November or something like that. But hopefully it'll be early next year. But I'm looking forward to that.
Well, A24 has a lot of inventory, a lot of movies, and it depends on what fits their schedule best at any particular time.
Jim, I'm a little bit surprised that the Rock's movie got a really pretty good
Smashing Machine.
Smashing Machine, that seemed to, I watch The Rock get nominated. Now that there's 10 nominations, watch The Rock get nominated for the Smashing Machines. But you know, you never know, but I think that is A24's biggest movie. And I think they spent over maybe $100 million.
Yeah.
90 of it went to him, and the other 10 they made the movie with.
Well, it's like
no. I think that in a situation like this, The Rock would say, you know, this is a chance for me to like do something different. This is a chance for me to show that I am an actor, and I'm not just, you know, The Rock.
Yeah.
And so he probably came in way underpriced as compared.
Well, I was going to say, I just looked it up and there's no confirmed budget. Some people are saying 40 million, some people are saying 70 million, but even the $70 million figure seems like it's exaggerated a bit.
Exaggerated high or exaggerated?
High, yeah. That's what it seems like just based on this, but we don't know.
I know what, I have a pretty good idea of, I know how much they spent on Civil War that came out last year. And then Aaron gave me a percentage, and he said, because I was talking to him a little about Civil War, which they did okay with, but I had such trouble with that movie and the end of that movie and them going to Washington. Although there's a young actress in that movie, the young one is so good, man. She was good in that movie. But anyway,
well, that is her name is Kaylee Spaney, and she was in Alien Romulus.
Oh wow,
that's what she did after Civil War.
Oh wow, oh, you know what? I saw Romulus, and I didn't put them together, but she must have been the star. She must have been the lead female character.
Yeah,
yeah, she was. Okay. But she was so good in the Civil War. She was like, she jumped out. You know, it's not that often that I see movies that I'm like, oh my God, look at this person's performance. And it's, you know, it's all, to me, most everybody's good. Some people are really good.
Yeah.
You want to go see Leonardo, or you want to go see, you know, people's performance. But that's a movie I had no expectations about. And I couldn't take my eyes off of her, not because, you know, she could be my granddaughter, but she's just, and she's a pretty, obviously an attractive young girl, but I just thought she was really, really good. So it doesn't surprise me that she's in Romulus. And, you know, Jim, I had heard, and
she's going to be in the new Ryan Johnson Knives Out movie. Are you familiar with these movies?
Wow.
Knives Out was a movie that came out on Netflix a few years ago with Daniel Craig, where he plays a
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Southern investigator. Chris Evans, just a really fun murder mystery.
It was an Agatha Christie, you know, like Mr. Mustard in the pantry, you know, etc. One of those sort of mysteries, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I think even as newer movies goes, you might like that one, but it's just a very fun murder mystery whodunit movie. And then they did a second one called The Glass House, I think, with Edward Norton, with Daniel Craig returning. He's going to be the guy every time. And Kaylee Spaney's going to be in the one that's coming out this year, which is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. So it's the third installment of that. So she's on the rise for sure.
Yeah. Well, she was very good in Civil War. But, you know, I think Aaron told me. I don't think it's, you know, I was under the impression
point that microphone. Point that microphone towards you a little bit.
Like this?
Yeah, just point it down a little bit.
Down like that?
There you go.
Okay. I knew what the budget of that movie was, and then he said to me, and we were talking a little bit about it because it was an A24 movie, and he said, "Well, we're making our movie for." And he gave a percentage, and I won't say what percentage it was, but it was less. And you know, even people that are not in the film community, people that are not in the television community, people that are just out there, they're starting to recognize A24. You can go on an airplane now, and you can get like a category, and it'll just be A24 movies.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, like mystery, like documentaries,
action, crime,
A24. Yeah,
that's a sign. That's a sign.
But I didn't, I wasn't. What is it? Smashing what?
The Smashing Machine.
The Smashing Machine. Yeah, I always forget that. I wasn't sure how that was, but it got. I think it premiered in Paris or something recently at one of the big
festivals.
One of the big festivals, and it got really pretty good notices. So. Good for him, because I saw him in a movie many years ago. I would say that he was probably first starting. It might have been one of his first movies, and I just remember him and a little girl, and the two of them had a relationship. And I'm not going to even know it when you say the name of it, but they seemed to be on some quest, or I don't know what his relationship was with the little girl, but I remember thinking when I saw that I thought that Dwayne Johnson, I was like, he's really good in this. He's really, really a good actor. And it was kind of, I think, before he blew up into that kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger movie star, big hit, guy. And I remember thinking he was really good, so I'm not surprised.
Some of his earlier movies, I think he's become this Arnold Schwarzenegger figure now. But if you go back and watch some of his older, which are just very fun movies like The Rundown or Walking Tall, which is very fun, but he has a great role in a movie called Be Cool with John Travolta.
Okay.
Oh, the sequel to Get Shorty.
Yeah, the Get Shorty sequel, which they renamed, and he plays kind of like a gay, big, tough guy, and he's actually very funny in that movie.
Right.
You forget that he's in it, but he's just this big guy, but he likes to go get his boots at the boot store, and he looks at him, and he's very funny and Be Cool.
Really?
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Wow.
Walking Tall is a remake of a movie from the 70s about a Southern sheriff. Buford Pusser was his name. Whose wife got killed in a hit attempt on him.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a true story. There was an actor named Joe Don Baker.
Yeah, of course.
Who starred in the first version of it back in the 70s. And it was a pretty big hit. It was a sleeper hit, Walking Tall. And it spawned a sequel. And I'm not surprised.
Didn't he walk around with like a 2x4, like batting people around?
Yes.
Here he comes. He doesn't have a gun, but he's got a big piece of wood. He walked around with a big piece of wood that he'd slap people around with.
Break their car windows or something, whatever, if they weren't behaving. Yeah, he was a Southern sheriff. Who
directed that? The original.
The original.
It'd be interesting to know if it was somebody that was kind of good, because normally a movie like that with Joe Don Baker wouldn't have had a director on it, which
Phil Carlson.
Bill Carlson. You ever heard of that?
Phil Carlson.
Phil Carlson. You know that name, Jim? No, probably
not offhand.
No. So
I remember Joe Don Baker from some other movies.
Oh yeah, no. Joe Don Baker was he had a pretty good career. But
he played a really nasty hitman named Molly in a movie called Charlie Varick with Walter Matthau. That's a really fun movie, directed by Don Siegel of Dirty Harry fame. Kind of a crime, little heist movie. It's set in the Southwest. That's a lot of fun.
Right.
There's a line from that movie that Quentin Tarantino used in Pulp Fiction, where one character says, our friends in the mafia, they don't believe in coincidences. They'll go after you with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. And that threat is enough for that guy to go kill himself. And then Quentin loved that, picked up that phrase and used it in Pulp Fiction when
Bing Rames.
Bing Rames says, what now? Bruce Willis says, what now? And Bing Rames says, I'm going to get a couple of pipe banging brothers and go after the homeboy here with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Do you know the movie I'm talking about, Charlie Barrick? Have you ever heard of it?
I've definitely heard of it. And when you mentioned, who'd you just mention?
The director, Don
no,
Siegel?
the actor.
Joe Don
Bing
Baker?
Rames.
No,
Bruce Willis.
the guy in The Odd Couple. His name just came up for some reason.
Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau. How did that name get involved in the conversation we were having about Joe Don Baker?
Well, he was
Walter
in the movie
Matthau
Charlie
in
Barrick.
that movie that you were talking
Yeah, he's
about?
in that movie.
Yeah,
He's like the star in that movie.
You know, I know Walter Matthau, and he is, whenever I think about Walter Matthau, I can't help but thinking about Jack Lemmon. And Jack Lemmon,
of course.
Jack Lemmon, to me, when you think about actors who really stood out as great actors who had long careers, who could do comedy, who could do drama, and boy, could he do drama and comedy. He was about as good as any actor that I've seen on screen, and diverse, and I saw him once up at the what's the name of that golf tournament they have in Pebble Beach? Golf tournament.
They call it the AT&T these days.
It's the Pro-Am. Was it still a Pro-Am?
Yeah, it's still a Pro-Am. They have celebrity amateurs. Like Bill Murray used to play that golf tournament. It's in the tour. It's always played in January, kind of at the beginning of the year for the Pro Tour. And for years, Bing Crosby used to host it. It was the Bing Crosby Open. He called it the Clam Bake. He started having a tournament up there back in the 40s. And so it's still, Pebble Beach is still a stop on the tour. And one of the features about it is they do have celebrity amateur partners, and they play all 4 days. They play in the final day as well, which isn't true in most golf tournaments, in those pro-ams. But no, it's a famous tournament.
Well,
so,
Jack
Lemmon used to play that tournament every year. Yeah. He was devoted. Yeah.
Well, I was up there. Pebble Beach is where Carlene was from, and her parents.
Well, that's where you got married. Where you and Carlene got married at the lodge at Pebble Beach, the Del Monte Lodge. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And it's an incredible area. The 17-mile drive is where she lived, and I think I fell in love more with her parents and their life.
They had a house right across the street from the Pebble Beach golf course. I was only there once, but it was fabulous. It was fabulous.
But I was walking once, just like from the club or whatever, and walking back to my car or whatever, and I'm walking, and Jack Lemmon is like next, kind of like right next. I notice him as I'm walking by, and I said, like, "Are you Jack Lemmon?" And he looked up. He had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he was like, kind of putting or fiddling around, and he said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, I just think you're just a wonderful, wonderful actor." He said, "Thank you." And then I said to him, "Do you ever wish you could play golf as well as you act?" And he said, "Every day." Every day. Yeah, but his performance in The Apartment, oh my God, just a brilliant.
One of those movies that is almost perfect.
I can't, that
perfect movie. It is a beautiful movie. It's definitely in my top 5 all time for sure. I can watch it. Oh, that is a movie I would take, to a desert island and watch over and over and over again.
Yeah,
as well. And he followed. Well, he and Walter Matthau were in another Billy Wilder movie called The Fortune Cookie.
Yes, which I saw that movie as a kid, and when I say a kid, I didn't. Somebody asked me the other day about movies. What were my favorite movies growing up? And I'm like, I didn't get to see movies when I was growing up because there were movie theaters, but I didn't. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't. I can remember my parents taking me to see a movie called, I think it was on my 12th birthday, called Zulu, introducing Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, yes.
Yes. And I believe whatever year, I'd be interested in knowing what year that came out because I believe that was on my birthday, so it should be around
first
7.
movie
69.
I remember seeing had Jack Lemmon in it. And I only remember one scene from it. My parents took me and my brother to a drive-in, and it was Mr. Roberts. And I think that was a very early
Jack Lemmon.
appearance of Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon is almost unrecognizable. He's so young and so on fire. I mean, he's
the morale director for the ship, and the ship has the crappiest morale in the Navy.
Yeah.
Zulu was 64, and I remember you showing me that movie.
I showed you.
You showed
Zulu.
me that movie, and I liked it, and I remember watching it a couple times as a kid.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I always remember the officers had the handguns.
Yeah.
They were the ones. Yeah.
But introducing Michael Caine, that's how old it was, and the Zulu guys would hit their what do you call it?
Their shields.
Their shields with their arrows.
Yeah, bang on their shield.
They would do that whole Michael Tyson, you intimidate him before you.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was a good movie. Who directed that? That seems like a kind of a
Cy Enfield.
Okay. And then I think they made a sequel to that. I think they made a sequel to it. I saw that movie when I was a kid, and then I also saw Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. That'd be interesting. That might have been the one that my parents took me to for my birthday too. That would have been right around the same time, I think.
Yeah, Zulu Dawn is the sequel made in '79 with Burt Lancaster and Peter O'Toole.
Okay. And then I think I might have been around 14 or 15 when I was in Chicago, and I had an aunt who was into the arts and loved the arts, and she took us to see Streetcar Named Desire, a play. And the play, I don't remember that much about who was in it, other than the fact that Blythe Danner played Blanche. And so that was...
that'd be great casting.
Yeah, that was very, very exciting. And also in Chicago with my aunt, she kind of snuck us in, because I don't think I was of age at the time that I saw it, to see Bob Fosse's movie, Lenny.
Oh, yeah.
And, so those are really the only movies I can really remember seeing. I mean, my parents used to take us, and I came from a wonderful family and a great mom and dad, and, just a wonderful, wonderful upbringing in Lincoln. And but my parents would take us out to the drive-in movies quite a bit. And for sure, whenever that first one was playing, there would be double features always.
Right.
And the first one was playing, and they'd start that movie, and it would almost still be light.
It would be, yeah.
You
might want to stick it because it was going to be repeated later.
Yeah, and what they usually had at drive-ins is they down, like, the cars are all sitting back, but down, like, almost underneath the screen, they would have like a jungle gym type of
playground.
Playground. Yeah. So the kids would all run around down there and play. And so I don't remember really seeing any movies when I was a child. Yeah, what movies did you like when you were growing up? I don't know. Now I can tell you the TV shows that I watched growing up. One of them I was watching something last night, and Jim, do you remember back? This is just so ludicrous. Back in the 70s, that when they had like a the networks. Actors competing in sporting
the
events
network
against
stars, Battle of the Network Stars, I think they called it.
Battle of the Network Stars.
Yeah.
And the idea of the whole thing of all these actors, and Farrah Fawcett was there, and
Lee Majors,
Gabe Kaplan, and there was they kind of the thing that I saw. It's just something my telephone threw at me, going, "Yeah, you'll enjoy this," and my phone was right. I did, and it was basically the guy from the Wild Wild West, the guy that what's his name, and he was kind of in his prime, the guy that played
Robert
Conrad,
yeah,
and the guy that I just mentioned that is in Welcome Back, Kotter, created Welcome Back, Kotter.
Gabe Kaplan.
Yeah, and them having they were on what do you call a race where you pass the baton, like
a relay.
Yeah, a relay race, and somebody passed the baton too early, and there was this big to-do about they changed who was first and who was second, and Robert Conrad knocked the battery off my he got all fucking pissed off, and he was angry, and then he went to the Welcome Back Kotter guy, and they were pointing fingers in each other's faces, and not Kaplan. Kaplan is in
Gabe Kaplan. Yeah,
not him, but the Wild Wild West guy was really getting into it and really angry. So they decided to decide who won by the two of them doing a race together. Okay, so it was just going to be Gabe Kaplan, who's, if you see the movie, he's kind of this long-haired, kind of stringy.
Urbanite,
Yeah. And when, you think of the guy who played the Wild Wild West.
Conrad,
Robert Conrad. He's
kind of muscular, athletic-looking guy. Yeah.
Did that other series after that where he played Popeye, whatever, the fighter pilot. You remember that other series?
Oh, yeah, Baba Black Sheep.
Baba Black Sheep, yeah. And
Papa Billington.
Yeah. So anyway, they say they're going to run it would have been I don't know once around a lap. So 4 times is a mile. I don't know what one lap is, but that one
a quarter mile.
Well, thank you, Jim. I think sometimes they say how many yards it is. It's like a 330.
440. It's a 440.
440. Thank you. Okay, the running of 440 once around. So you look at the two of them and you just think, Robert Conrad's this little jock. He's just going to tear him up. And turns out Gabe Kaplan was on the track team in college, and basically kind of kept it close up until the end, and then he ran away with it. And but boy, the idea of that as entertainment, all these celebrities, really kind of getting a little out of hand when it came to the competition, and whether ABC was going to win or CBS was going to win, and the girl Farrah Fawcett's in there trying to separate the two from each other. And Howard Cosell was the guy doing the
moderator of whatever.
Yeah. Howard Cosell. Yeah. God, we've lived a long time.
Well,
Let me see, what else do we got here?
I was gonna give an update on the Alien Earth series on Hulu.
Oh yeah, please do, because I want to talk about that too.
So yeah, as you know, the Alien franchise has just been wonky. I don't know. I love Prometheus. Some people don't. I love Prometheus.
I couldn't understand it, but it was a beautiful movie.
Yeah, I had trouble getting into that.
Beautiful movie, but go ahead.
I love it. There's a couple really dumb parts in it, admittedly, but I love it. Covenant, I didn't get that one. I didn't understand that one.
That one killed the franchise for a long time.
Yeah. So then they came back with Romulus, I think was the next project, which I very much enjoyed. You very much enjoyed. Fede Alvarez.
Yep.
the girl. And then so Alien Earth is the big Hulu show.
Yeah.
And Timothy Oliphant
Yeah.
plays one of them,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. I love him.
Yeah.
And the show starts out, and I really liked where they were going for the first couple episodes. It's kind of, it has a little bit more to do with the corporations fighting for control on Earth, and the ship crashes, and this one corporation has this new technology for these new like synthetic beings. And I really liked how it was going, and I was really enjoying it. And then there's episode 5 is like, so the opening of the show is this ship is coming from outer space, and it has all the creatures on it, and it crash lands onto Earth because all the crew gets fucking killed. So episode 5 is, all right, we're going to tell you the story of how the crew, what happened. And it feels like Alien. It feels like one of the movies.
Okay.
And I really liked it. And I was like, oh, this show's great. I'm loving it. It's
Yes.
so good.
Yes.
And
yes.
then it just like went so downhill, in my opinion, afterwards.
How many did they do? 8?
They did 8 episodes, and 6 was kind of wavering. And then 7, I was like, oh, this is getting out of hand now. And then 8 just kind of infuriated me.
You don't want to end the season with not a good episode.
Yeah.
But that, I haven't seen it, and I saw the movie, and I thought that Fetty did a very good job with the movie, and I thought, okay, and he's working with Ridley Scott. Is Ridley Scott even? I know, I'm sure his name is on it, but is Ridley? I wonder if Ridley Scott had anything to do with that other show. Alien, is it called Earth Alien?
Alien Earth.
Alien Earth.
Earth Angel. Alien Earth.
Yeah, it looks like he's a producer.
Yeah. Well, his name's going to be on it. His name's on, but I heard that, what you just said. I heard people saying the same thing that you were saying, that they got really into it, and then it got really
It gets ridiculous.
Got really stupid.
Yeah.
That's what
Did
I
it jump
heard.
the shark?
Well, yeah, I mean, but you jump the shark pretty quickly when you're still in your first season. That's
That's what would be sad.
Usually what happens is you have a television series, and you have a showrunner, and you have a group of writers.
Yeah.
And they're great writers, and they do a great season or 2, and then those people start peeling off because their careers are so hot from the show that they start writing for different shows and getting paid more money.
And get shows of their own, or go on to be showrunners.
Yeah, and the showrunners go off to do their own shows, and that's when when I think of television, that's when a lot of times television just kind of goes from like being really good to not being that good, because you don't have the original writers. You don't have the guys that were writing it in the first place. And but I've heard that. I've heard the same thing that you said about it, and
It's very disappointing, because I wanted it to be really good. I want an Alien, whatever the new Alien thing is, to be really good, and I was very excited about the first 5 episodes. So the last 3 is like, and kind of, you got to kind of come to terms with it too, when it's a show you're really into and you really like, and it's just not going well, and at some point you got to be like, all right, this is no good anymore. That's a bummer.
Is
Because you want it to be good.
Is there a period of time where you're just like, come on?
I was really, it's,
come on, you can do better than
yeah,
this. Come on.
It was going into that last episode. I'm like, I know you can pull this out if you really just, and then they just, no, okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, that is made for who? Hulu, right? Is it Hulu? Yeah. So
It's FX, which is essentially just Hulu.
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't. It's very hard to understand with these HBOs and all these, like a lot of times things will be. I heard Jeff, not Jeff Daniels, the guy from Jurassic Park with the glasses.
Sam Neill?
No, with
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff
Goldblum. Yeah.
Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum had a television series that lasted 1 season on something, and it's kind of hard because sometimes like there'll be something on, and it'll be pretty good. It'll get like good ratings, and people will like it a lot, and then they just get pulled, and it's a little bit different. Back in the day, we used to have something called the Nielsen ratings, which was can you explain how the Nielsen ratings work, Jim? It was just
no, I don't think anybody ever exactly, but they were kind of it was really important. Those ratings were very important. They would even have, remember what were those sweeps weeks?
Yes,
where the networks would load up on really big star-studded shows because that's when the Nielsen ratings would be really important for setting advertising rates, etc. But it was basically a way of measuring how many people were watching the show.
I think in all reality, I think they had 10,000 people across the country that would
that have little monitors on their TVs that would measure how long they were watching which particular show, etc. There were Nielsen, what they called Nielsen families. If you were a Nielsen family, you had a device on your TV that kept track of what you were watching.
Right,
and that was one way, the principal way that they formulated.
Jeff Goldblum, did you see what was
the most recent one that came up is a show called Chaos on Netflix with David Thewlis is in it.
Yeah, I mean that,
it was in. So it was.
Sounds like it would be really good. I love the title, first of all, and you got Jeff Goldblum, you got
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis, who, as I said before, one of the greatest performances of all time in my book is the movie that I can't think of the name of right now, but
Naked?
Naked. Oh, God, he's good in that movie. Really good.
And he was really good in an episode of the TV series Fargo as well.
Chaos was canceled after one series.
After one season. Yeah. Did you ever see it?
No.
You never saw it, right.
Because that's another thing with these shows is they come out, and they've done this a couple times where they come out, and it's one season, and it's a good show, but it's just not getting the numbers that they want, like Netflix, so they cancel it. So, why am I going to start watching this one? Netflix especially does this. I think more so than other networks.
Okay.
I think other networks are more willing to give them another season or two, but recently Netflix has been like, even if it's a good show, it didn't get the numbers that they wanted, so we're canceling it after one season. So if it's a Netflix show like that, I might hold off until.
It's very interesting now, Jim, and Caitlin, because they can't. Nobody really knows.
Well, except Netflix for the
knows. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Netflix knows, but nobody else really knows how many viewers are watching it, and how many people are on Netflix as compared to it's kind of like all gets very shady.
Unless they want you to know, because they will come out sometimes and say this is how many hours this show or movie was watched. So sometimes they will release that.
Oh, they
info.
do that
sometimes,
data. That data. Yeah. Oh, they will.
Yeah,
okay.
they have a pretty good. That data was really highly protected by them during the negotiations with
Screen Actors
with Screen Actors and with writers and directors about wanting a piece of streaming. Like you would get residuals from a TV show, or maybe a percentage if you were in a movie that was a big hit and you were a big star. And streaming was saying, no, we're not going to give you any what's called contingent compensation. And the writers and actors finally got some piece of contingent compensation for a show that does well on streaming, but the way that's calculated is really complex and very hard to understand. And it really is in the hands of the streamers to release that information. It's, it's theirs. So
did you, Jim, happen to see who the new president of the Screen Actors Guild is?
Yeah, he won. Sean Astin.
Yeah. I know Sean, and I'll tell you, I've never known anybody who works as hard as he does, and I think that he'll be a wonderful, wonderful president of the Screen Actors Guild. Of course, his mother was president of the Screen Actors Guild in the day, but Sean works and works and works and works, and I was with Sean once, and it was during the strike, and I kind of opened my the actor strike, okay. And I kind of opened my mouth around him and said something about my image. They'll be able to then I'm not going to be able to protect that. And he's like, whoa, Michael, you know. whoa, hold on. Let me explain something to you, you know. So, and then we got to be, so we're hanging a little bit, and we got, you know, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy, good actor, and a really, really good guy. But he put his phone down, and he was like looking at his phone, and he took the phone and he just kind of pushed it over in front of me. And the phone was the negotiation that was going on between the producers and the actors during the strike. The producers would say something, and the acting, Fran Drescher would say, or whoever the representative was. And so I got to see the kind of back and forth that was going on between them. And but Sean is a real hard worker, great actor. I love Rudy. Rudy to me is, I'd love to talk to him. One of the very first guests that I've always wanted to have on the show is Sean. And when I talked to him and congratulated him, he said, I got to do your show. But I know how busy he is. You know, somebody came up to me, and I know that we're almost out of time, but somebody came up to me. Did we talk about the Goonies?
The documentary.
The documentary. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Because he's in the Goonies.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
He is the Goonie. But if you one great role of his that maybe people don't remember is his role in 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, no, I know.
Where he's so funny in that movie.
Yeah. Where he basically plays the brother, and you know he did all this stuff himself. He plays a brother who's like a weightlifter, and
like a wannabe weightlifter,
wannabe tough guy, but he's got a lisp.
And he might be gay. I think that was part of the...
He kind of talks with a lisp, and I can't do it, but it just like some subtle moments, and he doesn't have. Yeah, I mean he plays her brother in it, and he's very good. He's very, very good in that movie. But he's had an incredible career because, you know, he's been he did all the stuff in New Zealand with
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. He did that whole franchise, and then I think they did The Hobbit, and he was.
Yeah, but he might have been involved, but he wasn't in The Hobbit.
He wasn't in The Hobbit?
No, that takes place at a different time.
Okay. Well, it shows you what I know about my Hobbit.
Come to me for Lord of the Rings questions.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Yeah.
I can remember The Hobbit being like this really great book that everybody was reading. Another one was...
Me too. Everybody, my teachers were promoting. Lord of the Rings, you have to read Lord of the Rings, but first you have to read The Hobbit. Right. And I couldn't get past page 2.
I was going to say, I was like about 30 pages in. I'm like, Bilbo,
you made it more than
Bobo,
me.
Dildo.
Bilbo, Baggins, Baba, Baba Louie,
And another one I'm just not very smart anyway. The only thing I can really do good is act. I'm a really good actor, but like other than that, I'm just not. And another one I always had trouble with. Everybody was carrying around this book. Everyone was carrying around this book by that physicist who had cerebral palsy or whatever.
Stephen Hawking?
What? Stephen Hawking's. What was Stephen Hawking? Well, Stephen Hawking's was like Astro for Dummies.
Yeah.
What was the name of that book? Everybody was carrying that.
A Brief History of Time?
A Brief History of Time.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, everybody was carrying that thing around, so I picked it up.
And nobody could understand.
I picked it up. I read like 20, 30 pages of it, and I'm like, what in the hell?
Way beyond me.
I'm just that stupid guy who never gets it.
Well, I was really into like space and black holes and all that in college, and I loved it. And so I went out and I got that book. I maybe got like 8 or 9 pages in.
You
and
too?
I was like, no,
okay.
no
So
chance.
between the three of us, it sounds like we read about 30 pages.
And probably didn't understand those either.
No. Well, which makes me think again about when I think about that immediately, for whatever reason, makes me think about Oppenheimer, and immediately makes me think about Ghost of Hiroshima, which I'm reading now. And, I'm listening to it. You can't actually get it as a book, but I'm listening to it. But that's the book that Jim is going to
is
do
involved
next.
with?
Yeah, and, Jim, it's not necessarily, I don't know what he's going to do with it, but the guy that wrote the book was in Hiroshima and was around Hiroshima. And it's very interesting that, like, from what I'm reading, is like where you're standing. Like if you were inside of a library, you would be like much more protected because of all the books. And it's just like very interesting. Like everything could get leveled, but the library would, like protect. And so anyway, he was in Hiroshima and they dropped the bomb, and wherever he was, and he explains his experience, but his family lives in Nagasaki. So as soon as that happened, he's worried about his family. So he races up to Nagasaki and then gets hit by the fucking second nuclear weapon and survives that. And I'm sure that there are many, many stories and many people talk about their histories and what they were doing and what their families were doing and who died and who didn't die. It's a subject matter that you think you say to yourself, and it's like Oppenheimer told one side of the story, but he wants to tell the dark.
I told you that I have an uncle, my mother's brother, who joined the Army right at the end of World War II. He was too young to get in during the fighting, but he joined right after World War II, and he was sent to Japan. He fought in Korea, but while he was in Japan, he met a local woman and married her and came back to the States with her. That was my Aunt Keiko. She was from Hiroshima. She was 15 when the bomb was dropped. It was dropped very near where she lived, but she was working in a munitions factory up in the hills. Ooh. So she wasn't hit by it. But she lost most of her family. Her father survived. She had a couple of brothers who survived, but their house was destroyed. Her mother was killed, and a couple of other siblings were killed. And this is my aunt. This lady was later my aunt, but she was a survivor of it.
Yeah. Lastly, I'll just say about the book and about Jim making this movie is, how do you make this, the Japanese experience of these bombs dropping on them, palatable to audiences? And that's all I can say is that you look at a great filmmaker like Steven Spielberg, and he could do Schindler's List. So somehow these guys are able to take these horrific situations and turn them into a palatable movie that you walk away from feeling somewhat, So we'll see what Jim does about it. We'll ask him about it when he comes in. And supposedly
really
he hasn't written it yet, and so we'll see. But Jim, we're kind of about that time. Let me tell you what this guy thought about me again. I'm joking.
Is that awesome? Awesome?
Awesome? Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jim. Today's Thursday, right, Jim? And we'll see you guys. We'll see everybody
I had a rough
next
day in
Monday.
court yesterday,
Please tell your friends to listen if you enjoy us, and if you don't, then don't tell anybody anything. And
keep your mouth shut. Yeah.
Subscribe and send the little clips to your friends that you think are funny. I gotta work on doing something really outrageous. Get our numbers up. Say something really, really outrageous. I'll work on that for next Monday. All right, Jim. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
Thank you. Thanks, Caleb.